Some great news for the low income, as lawmakers have introduced 2 new bills, one of which they have voted on, totaling $13 billion that would bring back a very popular low-income benefit program that would help tens of millions of low-income people and fixed income beneficiaries. A lot of you right here in the community would be able to take advantage of this, and this is actually pretty exciting as it's looking pretty promising. Lawmakers still have some work ahead of them, but it is looking very good, and this is bipartisan as well. Therefore, I want to talk through the details here in the video, let you know where we currently stand, what they have voted on, the details of the legislation, and what we can expect here over the coming days, weeks, and months. So with that being said, let's get into it and discuss what's going on. First off, thank you so much for liking and sharing this video with those buttons down below. I really appreciate it. Also, do you know someone that may benefit from this information who is also low income or fixed income beneficiary? If so, will you please make sure to share this video with them, again, with the share button down below. Thank you. Really, really appreciate your support. Let's get into it and talk about it. All right. So again, I want to emphasize really quickly, low income, and yes, this does include fixed income beneficiaries. I get this question all the time on a lot of my videos. People reach out and say, hey, I'm SSDI. Does this include me? Hey, I receive SSI. Would this include me? I'm a senior. I'm 64. I'm 65. I'm 70. I'm 72. Would this include me? Yes, it's all income based, right? Every single time it's always income based. So let me tell you the details about it. All right. Do you remember the infamous ACP program, the Affordability Connectivity Program? This is the one that was around for a few years, offering free or discounted internet for low income. Well, it ended as of May this year, 2024, right? So that was a handful of months ago. However, they just came back with 2 new pieces of legislation. One is in the Senate and one is in the House of Representatives, and it has bipartisan support, both these pieces of legislation. So they voted on one of them, and I want to let you know where we currently stand. All right, so let's quickly talk about the bigger of the 2 pieces of legislation. By the way, the Senate bill is $7 billion, and the House bill is $6 billion. They voted on the $7 billion bill in the Senate Commerce Committee, okay? So they voted on it there to discuss it and, see if they should move this thing forward. But that is in the Senate there, okay? So basically what they want to do is they want to bring back the ACP program and fund it with $7 billion. Now, remember this much as well. When they originally introduced the ACP program a few years ago, they originally funded it with $14.5 billion. That lasted about 2-ish years, 2.5 years or so, give or take a little bit. So if they fund it again with $7 billion, this means it's probably going to last about, give or take maybe a year and 3/4, a year and a half, something around there. It totally depends on how many people would sign up. If it would still be the $30 per month, there's a lot of factors here, okay? So it would not be like a forever fix, but it would be probably an extension of about a year and a half, maybe a year and 3/4. And again, if they lower the eligibility of it, maybe they can squeak out 2 years on it. But we'll see once we get more details about it, okay? Now, that is the Senate version, okay? And remember, they did not go for a final vote in the Senate, but they voted on it, again, the Senate Commerce Committee, okay? That's who voted on this thing, okay? All right, so that's the Senate version of it. And again, it's getting some bipartisan support. Obviously, not every lawmaker is voting for this thing. Every lawmaker never votes for everything, right? It doesn't matter what it is, okay? It doesn't matter the legislation. You'd never see every lawmaker voting for any piece of legislation, right? All right, so anyway, that's the Senate bill. Now, the House of Representatives also has a very similar bill. This is a $6 billion bill, so it's $1 billion less, but this one is a little bit different here, okay? Now, this one changes the eligibility of the program, okay? So let me share with you really quickly about that because this is also a key element of it. Now, the original eligibility of the ACP program from the original, program a couple of years ago when it was originally started, and then again, it just ended a few months ago in May of this year. But basically, a household who had income of 200% or less of the federal poverty line could take advantage of this program, right? So if you were 200% of the federal poverty line or below, you could potentially be eligible for it. In the House version of the bill, they want to reduce that a little bit and basically make it so just the lowest of the low income would be able to take advantage of this program. Now, the new rules, again, of the House bill, it hasn't passed either, but they're talking about it. And by the way, this one has bipartisan support. Both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are supporting this one, okay? Just saying. I want to point that out because, again, any one side can introduce anything, and just because they do it doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? But when it's bipartisan, it has a much better chance of actually happening. All right, so anyway, The new eligibility for this one would be a household with an income of 135% of the federal poverty line or below. Okay, so that's kind of shaving it down quite a bit, because previously, like you heard me say, it was 200% of the federal poverty line, and now it would be 135% of the federal poverty line. Okay, so that's what the new eligibility would be. Now, I did not see anything about how much they would be offering per month. Is it still the $30 that it was for a couple years? Would they lower it? Would they change that? I have seen in previous headlines that have been out there suggesting about potentially reducing it down to either they said a couple, like $20 basically, $19.99. I've seen that number. I've seen $15, and I've even seen $10. Okay, $10? Come on, really? $10? Seriously? Are we really going to go through all that work for $10? I don't know. Maybe some people will. That's fine. But I'm just simply saying, $30 is kind of like a really nice middle ground. You can get, most of your internet covered for a lot of people anyway, not everybody, but at least it would help quite a bit. $10 a month, I mean, seriously, yeah, that's not going to be very helpful, but we don't know what it's going to be quite yet. So there you go, which, by the way, quick little side note here as well. You've heard me say this before in other videos, but let me say it really quickly. The federal poverty line for a household of one is $15,060 for the entire year, or a little over $1,200 a month is the federal poverty line for a household of one, okay? Now, a household of two, the federal poverty line is $20,440, or a little over $1,700 a month is the federal poverty line. That would be 100% of the federal poverty line for a household of one and a household of two. Remember, it's 135% of the federal poverty line. What are those numbers? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, okay? I did not run the calculation. I apologize. I should have done that before I started recording this video. Sorry. You might have to do some math on your own. Or I can always come back in another video and just calculate that for you. But I could run it really fast here. 3, 5. I'm kind of calculating quickly. 45. Okay, 135% of the federal poverty line. Again, I'm trying to really quickly calculate as I talk here. 135% of the federal poverty line for a household of one would be about $19,560, give or take a little bit, okay? $19,500. Just say that much, okay? So if your income is below about $19,500 as a household of one, you would be below, basically within the 135% of the federal poverty line as a household of one. Now, a household of two, give me a second. 6, okay? 5, 7. Okay, so it'd be about, okay, so 135% of the federal poverty line for a household of two would be about, give me a little bit of break on this. I'm a little off on this one, but it's about $27,500, okay? Give or take a little bit, it's about $27,500, okay? So if you're a household of two and your income annually is less than $27,500 a year, you would be within the 135% of the federal poverty line. Does that make sense? Again, those numbers are just really rough. I just literally was calculating as I was talking in my head, okay? I'm off a little bit, but I'm pretty close with that, okay? They're not exact numbers, but they're very, very close, within a few $100s, okay? Just wanted to say that, okay? All right, so anyway, I will keep you posted on this. This is actually pretty exciting. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of us sometimes get worked up like, they haven't done it yet, or this is just a proposal. You're right. It always starts out in a proposal, just like a lot of things, right? We start out with a proposal, and then we come back and say, hey, yo, you want to seal the deal on this thing or not, right? Or should we just continue to keep this thing proposed forever? That's the same thing with everything. Same thing with legislation. They come out with a proposal and say, hey, everybody, I got a proposal for you. And everybody can say, hey, yeah, we like it, let's do it. Or, no, we don't like it, and let's change it. Or, no, we're not going to do this. We don't like this proposal, right? So the nice thing about it is that it's bipartisan. That's the cool thing, okay? So anyway, we got a couple more outs here. A handful of months ago, by the way, we had like 3-piece legislation back then as well. Obviously, nothing happened there. Now we have 2 more new ones, $6 billion and $7 billion, which would extend this program out for about anywhere between a year and a half to about 2 years or so, give or take a little bit. So that would be nice, and would help out the low income again for a while until they can hopefully get a long-term solution in place. So there you go. Does that help you a little bit? I hope so. Leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Otherwise, subscribe down below. Again, totally free to do so. I'm here for you every single day. Share the video, like the video. Make sure to check out the other videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library, the ones I've hand-selected for you down below in the description at the top of the comment section, and right now popping up on your screen as well. You'll see some videos there. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Have a nice day, and I'll keep you posted on this. Thanks again.